4 men in CCTV of Jolo blast surfaced to clear names while investigators look into the possibility that suicide bombers carried out the attacks. The Philippine National Police is yet to establish a link between Jolo and Zamboanga City bombings. And Davao City bans use of backpacks in churches following a series of bombings in Mindanao. Good evening. A grenade throwing happened in Zamboanga City today, but according to city police, this has no connection to the bombing incident in Sulu. Dante Amento tells us why.
2 persons died when a grenade was thrown into a Zamboanga City mosque at past midnight today when 11 men were sleeping. 3 others were injured in the incident. The blast, however, is an isolated case and might not be connected to the recent bombing incident in Sulu, according to Police Senior Superintendent Thomas Joseph Martir, the City Police Director.
Yan, marami naman kasi ang gulo dyan at ang insidente na yan, hindi lang siguro konektado sa Jolo kasi yung Jolo ay ED yun dyan grenade throwing yan. Baka may personal gadgets din yan kasi yung mga tao dyan na pumunta hindi naman taga rito. At saka yung iba dyan, may isang biktima natin yata is Barangay Kagawad and baka politika rin.
The fatalities were identified as Haji Satalbato, 47, and Rex Habil, 46, a barangay councilman in Basilan. Those injured were Palson Asgali, Alnis Karsabaha, and Jikilani Albani, who are now being treated in Zamboanga City Medical Center. A Muslim religious leader meanwhile stated the incident in Sulu could have been coincidental.
Mayroon tayong military, mayroon tayong investigator, baka naman dito pa, kasi nag-coincide lang. Ako, yung sabi ko na niniwala ako, nag-coincide lang yung nag-happen, what happened in Jolo.
Authorities have investigations underway as the suspect in the grenade throwing have yet to be identified. Meanwhile, Malacañang has condemned the Zamboanga City mosque blast. In a statement, presidential spokesperson said the latest act of terror is a taunting challenge to the capability of the government to secure the safety of the inhabitants in Mindanao. Malacañang tagged the perpetrators as mass murderers and said that the armed forces of the Philippines will hunt them down relentlessly. The palace also said that these terror acts will not hinder the quest for peace and progress in Mindanao and assured that the government will secure the safety of the people of Mindanao and provide them with whatever support they need. On the other hand, the Ulama Council of Zamboanga Peninsula or UCZP has called a meeting relative to the recent bombings. The meeting will involve Muslim religious leaders, the Philippine National Police, and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. It aims to tackle measures to be undertaken to prevent more bombings. The UCZP is a non-profit organization whose goals include catering to the needs of Muslims and spreading moral values in Muslim communities in the country. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue, Zamboanga City.
Authorities are still looking at the possibility that a suicide bomber carried out the twin explosions that killed 20 people at a Roman Catholic church in Jolo, Sulu. They also plan to conduct DNA tests on mangled bodies found scattered across the bombed cathedral. Leia Ilagan tells us why.
Investigators are yet to confirm that theory that suicide bombers were deployed to carry out the twin blast at a Jolo church in Sulu province last Sunday. This is despite President Rodrigo Duterte's statement that suicide bombers were behind the attack and that the perpetrators were a couple. The Philippine military earlier denied claims that the Jolo attacks were a case of suicide bombing after some survivors said that a female planted the first explosive that went off inside the Mount Carmel Cathedral.
Meron kasing survivor na nagsasabi na babae na-interview siya na she was about 4 seats away from the blast. Ang napansin daw niya, mayroon doong babae sa harapan niya na medyo balisa. Tapos, nung umalis siya, may naiwan na package. So, yun siguro yung pumama. Hindi naman sinabi na nakita niya sumabog. Pero, yun ang napansin niya, no? So, that definitely is not suicide bombing.
The blast shattered pews and glasses, leaving bodies strewn across the church. A second bomb went off outside as government troops rushed to help the victims. But Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says no one saw how the second explosive was deployed. The attack also appeared to be a suicide bombing because of the body parts that were found in the premises.
Marami kasi body parts doon nakita kami. Merong mga paa doon, mga part ng ulo, tapos meron pa nakasabit doon sa may pader, sa may fence. It appears to be suicide bombing. And I was also convinced immediately na baka suicide bombing yun.
Lorenzana also revealed that he and President Rodrigo Duterte received an intelligence report from Singapore that a Yemeni couple carried out the deadly church blast. However, it remains unclear if the explosion were indeed suicide bombings as claimed earlier by the Islamic State militants. In a statement released on its news agency, ISIS claimed credit for the attack, saying 2 suicide bombing detonated a belt of explosives. But Lorenzana noted that the ISIS has not identified the perpetrators and called them martyrs as its usual practice. 21 people were killed in Jolo blast, and DNA test will be conducted on the body parts to determine its nationality, particularly the alleged suicide bombers.
I don't know how we are going to find out who he is by DNA, but maybe we can find out what nationality, o Filipino ba o foreigners.
Earlier reports stated that at least 40 foreign terrorists have penetrated the country, and authorities are now working to determine if the alleged Yemeni couple were among those people. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
4 persons whom authorities claimed were the suspects behind a twin blast in Jolo turned themselves up before the police on Wednesday to clear their names. Authorities identified them as suspects after they were seen in a closed-circuit television camera or CCTV footages. According to Chief Superintendent Amador Corpus, director of the Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, the 4 reportedly appeared before the police and denied any participation in the bombing of the cathedral that left 20 people dead. Corpus said the police are currently taking the testimonies of the 4 men and that the regional police office have yet to relay further details. The Davao City government urges churchgoers to refrain from using backpacks in the wake of explosions that rocked Jolo and Zamboanga City in Mindanao. Dian Ventura tells us what.
Following a series of terror attacks in some parts of Mindanao, the local government of Davao City has ordered the imposition of a no backpack policy in all houses of worship or churches across the city. Public Safety and Security Command Center Head Retired General Benito de Leon relayed the order from City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. The policy emphasized that churchgoers should bring small bag like handbags or purse instead of backpacks for easy monitoring of government forces and to avoid being suspected of illegal activities. In view of the inconveniences, authorities appealed for public understanding in the implementation of stringent security measures by police, specifically the members of Task Force Davao.
Kung para sa safety and peace and of order sa Davao City, why not na mag-cooperate na lang kung mauna ang nakita na.
Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police has augmented its ground forces to focus specifically on inspection and monitoring of churches or house of worship across the city. Dian Ventura, UNTV News and Rescue, Davao City.
The Commission on Elections is not yet considering placing Jolo under its authority for the upcoming midterm elections following the deadly church blast. Let's find out why in this report.
20 people were killed in twin blasts that ripped through a cathedral in Jolo last Sunday. The town has been placed on lockdown as authorities continue to identify the persons or group behind the deadly explosions. Despite the current situation, the Commission on Elections does not see the need to place Jolo under its authority for the coming May midterm elections. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez explains the midterm polls are still months away and a recommendation must first be submitted to the poll body. for an area to be placed under its supervision.
That would have to be for the 2019 elections. So wala pa. The proseso tayo sinusunod, and the process entails the recommendation being given by the local COMELEC officer.
COMELEC rules state that an area may be placed under its control on the grounds of intense political rivalry between or among candidates and presence of private armies. Under COMELEC control, the poll body shall exercise full control over all national and local enforcement agencies and military men assigned in the concerned area. COMELEC also believes that Jolo bombings will not defer the second voting for the Bangsamoro Organic Law set on February 6.
So we are awaiting reports from our field officials there, and we expect that they will be the ones recommending any future action that we take. The elections in North Cotabato and Lanao del Norte will be happening, if I'm not mistaken, Wednesday next week, February 6th. So we're actually very short of time. No? In the sense na, syempre, merong mangangamba. So, ang nakikita natin is, even though may nangangamba tungkol sa safety nila, hindi nagbabago yung boto nila.
The poll body will send a special monitoring team to Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato for the second plebiscite to assure its orderly and peaceful conduct.
Mahalaga din sa COMELEC yung safety ng mga botante. So, talagang gusto natin masiguro na kung kailangan tayong kumilos ng mas aktibo o ng mas definitive sa areas kung saan magkakaroon pa ng halalan.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
An expert from the Philippine Navy believes that acquiring knowledge to detect an explosive is highly imperative. Monoxon tells us why in this special report.
In the past years, many incidents of bombing occurred in the Philippines. Many died and injured because of this. Becoming a victim of bombing can happen to anyone, anywhere and anytime. That is why it is important to be prepared at all times. So, what are the things that the public must do to avoid and prevent the destructive effects of bombing? According to Mike Lau Santos, a security expert, the public must be vigilant at all times. Know the entry and exit points of a building. Have a designated area where you and your family or friends can meet in case of unexpected events. If going to a crowded place, know the sturdy part of the area such as walls and posts that can be used as refuge should a bombing happens. At times, when the government raise a warning in a certain area, it is better to avoid that place.
Iwasan natin sa maraming tao. Pangalawa, maging vigilant tayo do sa ginagalawan nating lugar, lalo na kung meron tayong nakitang isang bagay na unattended or isang bagay na naiwan or iniwan, siguro dapat una nating gawin is iwasan nating lapitan o sisain ng personal yung bagay na yon.
It is sometimes better to be suspicious, especially if a person's actuation is not normal.
Sabihin na nating magiging parang paranoid tayo pag nakakita tayo ng ganong taong medyo suspicious looking or suspicious yung movement niya. Pero dapat kasi para maiwas natin yung sarili natin or yung maiwasan natin yung malaking kapahamakan sa isang lugar.
Philippine Navy Marines bomb expert Blaster believes that acquiring knowledge to detect an explosive is important. Blaster showed the different improvised explosive devices or IEDs that terrorists use. The bomb expert also warns that any suspicious-looking thing in a place must be immediately reported to the authorities.
Pag meron tayong mga nakitang mga nakaprotrude katulad ng wire o a part of explosives or detonator or battery, yun po yung telltale sign na that is a suspected IED. So, ang IED po, it was designed to inflict casualty and destroy property. So, dapat po i-isolate nila yung lugar. Huwag nilang hahawakan because kapag hinawakan yon, there is a big possibility na sumabog po yun.
Authorities call on the public to be calm and have a presence of mind in times of any incident. This is hard to do but necessary to preserve and save lives. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.
Veteran songwriter Odette Quesada picks Filipino-Canadian Audrey Arellano to represent her camp in the grand finals of the Coveri Season 2, The Singer and the Song in the Philippines. Arellano bested other singing hopefuls who joined the Coveri Season 2 USA edition. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
Tumigil ang mundo nung ako'y pinili mo, siya ang panalangin ko.
Winning the Coveri Season 2 USA edition still feels surreal for Filipino-Canadian Audrey Arellano. Audrey defeated 10 other semi-finalists who were picked by US-based Filipino songwriter coverer Odette Quesada out of hundreds who joined the open mic auditions held last December 2018.
Very, very surreal. I'm in awe. I had no idea. This is crazy. It's crazy.
Audrey was born in the Philippines but she migrated in Vancouver, Canada in the previous years. Audrey says she wished to have a career in the music industry, so she grabbed the opportunity presented by Wish 1075 when it opened a series of Coveri auditions in several US cities. The young aspiring singer went on to defeat other Coveris in vocal showdowns until she was hailed as the winner, taking home $5,000 cash prize and a round-trip ticket to the Philippines. Audrey will also represent the Camp Odette Quesada in the grand finals of Coveri Season 2, The Singer and the Song, set to be held on February at the Smart Araneta Coliseum in the Philippines. Coveri USA first runner-up Zaira Garrido received $3,000, while second placer Femalu Javines got $2,000. According to Quesada, she chose Audrey because of her passion and artistry.
It was very difficult. Technically, the other girls were, I would say, vocally better, but that's not exactly what makes an artist. It's the originality and singing from the heart.
Quesada, who launched a singing and composing career in the Philippines in early 1980s, was known for her Filipino music hit songs Till I Met You and A Friend of Mine. She believes that the Coveri is not just an online singing contest, but also a platform to discover singing gems.
Like I mentioned earlier, it's not exactly a singing contest we're doing. We're trying to discover an artist and trying to fit a song with the artist's voice. So
Camp Odette Quesada knows they will face other Filipino aspiring singers also mentored by prolific singer-songwriters of today during the Coveri 2 finals. However, Quesada remains undaunted and has this message for other camps.
Just watch out, we're coming. I'm not taunting, I'm just letting you know. Get out of the way. No, it's gonna be fun. I've not been in competition in decades, so woo, let's do this. Yeah.
Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Up next on Y News. The Laguna Lake Development Authority inspects the water treatment facilities of some hotels in Manila. And Camp Junji Marcelo's Rhea Basco moves to Coveri 2 Grand Finals. Thank you for keeping me company in the first part of Y News. More reasons behind the stories with Angelo Castro III and William Thio after this quick break. I'm Rheena, Villamor-Camara. Good evening.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up from where Rheena Villamor-Camara left off. I'm Angelo Castro III, and here are the headlines. Government offices polluting Manila Bay may face closure, according to DENR. President Rodrigo Duterte urges Filipinos to get vaccines for their children. And NDFP consultant Randy Felix Malayao shot dead while on board a bus in Nueva Vizcaya. The Laguna Lake Development Authority finds some hotels in Manila that are without proper wastewater treatment facilities during an inspection in relation with the ongoing rehabilitation of Manila Bay. Joanano tells us why.
The Laguna Lake Development Authority made rounds in some hotels in Manila earlier to check on their sewage and water treatment facilities. The LLDA team first inspected the Manila hotel that has been in the area since 1901. However, the team was not able to conduct actual water sampling in the hotel's facilities after its pollution officer promptly presented their certificate of interconnection with Maynilad. This means that their sewerage system is connected to the water treatment facility of Maynilad. The hotel management also disclosed that they are paying 1.3 million pesos monthly to Maynilad to ensure that their wastewaters are not being discharged to Manila Bay. The team inspected the Luneta Hotel next, but based on their initial findings, the hotel lacks its own sewerage treatment plant. The LLDA team was also unable to get sample of the hotel's water discharges after the management failed to identify its wastewater outlet.
Ang issue po sa ating inspection ay yung inaccessibility ng kanilang sampling station. So dahil po wala pong accessible or appropriate sampling station, ang implication po niya na hindi pa po sila nakukuhaan ng sample, yung discharges po from this establishment, hindi ho natin masasabi kung pollutive o hindi dahil hindi pa po siya na-analyze at hindi nakuhaan. Pero sure po tayong papunta po ito ng public drain at papunta eventually ng Manila Bay.
The LLDA plans to return to the hotel to get a water sample and will require its management to present its action plan. The Rizal Park Hotel was inspected next. Although it has its own septic tank and sewerage treatment plant, the hotel's water sample was found to have high level of fecal coliform. Based on laboratory test results, it recorded 160,000 most probable number per 100 millimeters of fecal coliform content, which is higher than the standard level of 400 mpn. The hotel management has yet to comment on the findings. The LLDA said notice of violation has already been issued to Rizal Park Hotel, but it asked for a resampling after conducting some remedial measures on its sewerage treatment plant. The agency will again test the water sample from Rizal Park Hotel to know if the fecal coliform level has dropped to a standard level.
Ngayon, on their part, may ginawang remedial measures, nag-request for resampling. So pupunta po tayo ngayon to collect a sample, and pag pumasa po, possible dismissal of case upon payment of penalty. Pero kung hindi pa po ay continue pa po siya as water pollution case.
Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources warns that government offices polluting Manila Bay may also face closure. Grace Casin tells us why.
After issuing cease and desist orders to private establishments over the absence of sewage and treatment facilities, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources is now turning its attention to government offices that are guilty of dumping waste materials into Manila Bay, according to DNR Anti-Corruption Office ASEC Daniel Nicer. The DNR will be looking at establishments surrounding Estero de San Antonio Abad, which include Ospital ng Manila Medical Center and Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Estero de San Antonio Abad directly drains into Manila Bay and had recorded 1.3 billion most probable number per 100 mm of fecal and coliform content. These are bacteria found in human-animal feces as well as in decomposing organic materials.
Yung Bangko Sentral at Hospital ng Manila, they're being monitored by LLDA. So, connected naman daw sa sewer lines, pero titignan natin yung compliance nila if they're really complying with the Clean Water Act.
The agency, however, clarifies that they will not automatically close the said establishments but only their outflow.
Maraming establishment na ganun yung protocols of closing, only the source of pollution.
But if these offices will continue to ignore the order, they will have to be closed permanently. The DNR estimates that the government would need around 100 billion pesos to to erect water sewage facilities in Central Luzon and Calabar Zone. These regions surround Manila Bay but are yet to be reached by services of existing water concessionaires. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
President Rodrigo Duterte urges the public to avail of the government's free vaccination program amid the declining number of vaccinees following the fiasco involving anti-dengue vaccine, Dengvaxia. Here's why from Rosalie.
President Rodrigo Duterte encouraged Filipinos not to be scared of getting their children vaccinated. The chief executive noted a decline in number of parents availing government's free vaccination program for their children, following the controversy involving anti-dengue vaccine called Dengvaxia. The president said the public should not fear immunization to protect children from possible outbreak of diseases.
Simula yung nagkaroon ng gulo dito, maraming mga pamilya dito sa Pilipinas, hindi lang sa Malabon, na natakot ng mga itong vaccination at ayaw na. Do not be lulled and be complacent about it kasi ang sanggol talaga kailangan. Yung Dengvaxia lang, kung ayaw ninyo, okay lang. But lahat ng anak ninyo, hindi naman tayo nagkulang sa bakuna because it is good and it is for the health of the person. Kung maliit pa hanggang lumaki.
The Department of Health noted a 40% drop in measles vaccination in 2018 due to the public's declining trust in government immunization. This report, DOH said, is alarming and definitely a cause of concern for the government as health experts project a possible outbreak if children lack protection.
You're going to have outbreaks sooner than later.
Meanwhile, President Duterte reiterated his promise to improve government hospitals to be able to deliver better services that will cater to the needs of the Filipino people. Recognizing the valuable efforts of the people behind the initiative, the president said it would surely help thousands of Filipinos, particularly those who could not afford paying for expensive medical bills. He also vowed to prioritize health services for the poor. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malabon City.
A consultant for the National Democratic Front of the Philippines was shot dead on board a passenger bus early this morning. Based on initial investigation, the victim, identified as Randy Felix Malayao, was sleeping inside the bus in Aritao, Nueva Vizcaya during a regular stop when a suspect went up the bus and fired 2 fatal shots at the victim. The gunman fled with another suspect towards the south on board a motorcycle. Before the government canceled the peace talks with the communist rebels, Malayao participated in the negotiations as a peace consultant of the NDFP on political and constitutional reforms representing Cagayan Valley. Lawmakers from the House Makabayan Bloc strongly condemned the killing of Malayao.
Ang atake na ito kay Randy, ang pagpatay sa kanya, ay bahagi talaga ng all-out na atake ng Duterte administration sa mga progressive party list ng Makabayan.
Many countries admit that they are facing challenges in fighting terrorism. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
Countries oftentimes face the challenges of resolving armed conflicts, especially terrorism. But what is the ideology of a person who would bring danger in a community with a mission of killing people? Every time we hear the incidents of chaos in the southern part of the Philippines, we would often think that these are never-ending stories of sowing of terror of people who have no other purpose but to destroy the lives of others. In the Philippines, there are armed groups, especially Mindanao, and some of them have already been declared by the government as terrorists. These include the Abu Sayyaf Group, Jemaah Islamiyah, and the New People's Army. They are involved in series of attacks where victims are military and civilians. According to the study conducted by Southeast Asia Regional Center for Counterterrorism and Professor Romel Banlaoy, the terrorist group Abu Sayyaf has different tactics to lure the youth in joining the group. One of these tactics is their presentation of an ideology that uses a certain religion in a wrong way, in which the youth are driven to discontent in the society they live in and are eventually ensnared into joining the terrorist group. This despite the Islam's teaching of peace. Another bait that the ASG poses is their stance of acting like a Robin Hood, where they distribute their loots to the communities. In this way, they have earned the support of the local community. Some also joined the terrorist group because of the material benefits. The primary victims of this ploy are the out-of-school youth and those who came from poor communities. According to political analyst and executive director of Institute for Political and Electoral Reform, Professor Ramon Casiple, aside from poverty, the culture also has an impact on why other individuals are easily persuaded to join the group.
Bakit ang mga tao sumasama? Minsan kahirapan dahil may pera dyan na binibigay sa kanila, no? Minsan naman, gusto nila na magkaroon ng prestige o prestigiyo sa komunidad nila. Mabibigyan sila ng baril. Alam mo naman yung karaga ng baril sa kultura ng Muslim. Minsan naman, meron talaga silang rivals. Ano? Pinatay yung kanilang asawa, pinatay yung anak, pinatay yung tatay.
In addition to this is the influence from foreign extremist groups like the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria or ISIS. This is also the reason behind the emergence of other extremist armed movements in the country.
Ang pagpasok nila dito sa ating rehiyon ay, lalo sa Pilipinas, ay dahil may rebellion dito, nakita nilang right ang dito, ang sitwasyon para magpalawak sila ng probinsya.
In Islam religion, the Quran says killing or injuring a person is tantamount to killing or injuring the entire world. The government has taken steps to resolve the armed conflicts in Mindanao. This is by peace talks with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, where the establishment of a more powerful Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao is underway. The government believes that this will resolve the conflicts and rebellion in the region. But according to Casiple, terrorism is another issue to resolve.
Pero ang terrorism, iba ito. Kasi ito ay hindi man related sa rebellion. In fact, nagdating na sila dyan na grupo yan, ganyan DIFF na umalis sa Mayalet. Patuloy yan. Lalo pa kung makakuha sila ng mga tagasunod mula sa mga bata, kabataan, ay posibleng yan na patuloy pa.
With the passage of the Bangsamoro Organic Law, many including the administration are expecting that peace will soon be at hand. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Former House Deputy Speaker Attorney Lorenzo Tanada III is eyeing measures that will ease the burden of common Filipinos if re-elected to public office. Let's find out why in this report.
On the program Get It Straight with Daniel Razon, former House Deputy Speaker Attorney Lorenzo Tanada said he wants to push for minimum wage hike for workers in different regions across the country. He argued that there is actually minimal or no difference between the price of basic commodities in the rural areas and in the metropolis. In fact, in most cases, the prices of basic goods are higher in the countryside than in the National Capital Region because of higher transportation costs. According to Tanada, it is only right for regional workers to enjoy the same benefits accorded to NCR workers. In such situation, he added, urban migration and overpopulation in Metro Manila would also be prevented.
Makatarungan pa ba yung paggamit ng regional wage boards sa pagtatakda ng minimum wage? So, panahon ng pag-usapan yan.
Tanada is also eyeing a review of the Electric Power Industry Reform Act of 2001, also known as EPIRA Law. He claims that the measure failed to lower electricity rate in the past 18 years since its enactment. Instead, he said, businessmen will be more attracted to invest in the country with lower power rates.
Sa iba't ibang mga probinsya, mas mahal ang singil ng kuryente kesa sa Metro Manila.
Tanada's first attempt at a seat in Senate was in 2013, but he was booted out of Liberal Party's senatorial slate because then President Benigno Aquino III did not favor his Freedom of Information Bill.
Na-shortlist naman ako hanggang 15. Well, kung titignan natin, meron siyang di nagustuhan sa aking pag-advocate ng isang panukalang batas.
So, Tanada said he was offered to change camp and join then Vice President Jejomar Binay's lineup, but he declined. Tanada has been vocal of his commitment to the Liberal Party as he vows to continue the legacy of his father, the esteemed statesman former Senator Wigberto Bobby Tanada. A veteran human rights lawyer, Tanada is known for his landmark legislations such as the creation of the Human Rights Claims Board for the victims of martial law and other important bills such as the Freedom of Information and the utilization of the Coco Levy Fund. Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Filipino songwriter wish coverer Junji Marcelo picks Rhea Basco as his camp's bet for the grand finals of the Wish Coveri Season 2, The Singer and the Song. Here's why from Leslie Longbowen.
Belters Rhea Basco and Aliyah Cadelinia of Camp Junji Marcelo took their turn in the knockout battle in the Wish Coveri Season 2. In the vocal battle held at the iconic Wish 1075 bus, Rhea gave her all for the crucial slot in the grand finals. Not to be outdone, Aliyah also rendered a stellar performance. The two were joined by a Wish Coveri from Camp Moy Ortiz, Shaira Mainit, who returned to the competition as a producer's pick. After their Wish Bus performance, Junji selected Rhea as the winner of the knockout round. The songwriter believes Rhea has what it takes to represent his camp to the grand finals.
Si Rhea really is the kumbaga siya yung scientific ang approach sa singing. Alam niya kung paano siya atake.
Every round, talagang natututo naman po ako. Nadidiscover ko kung ano po yung mga bagay pala na song sa akin.
Later tonight, singer-songwriter Top Suzara will reveal who among his Cebuano bets will move to the finals of the largest online singing competition, Wish Coveri Season 2, The Singer and the Song. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Up next on Y News.
It is now clear that there is a route that can secure a substantial and sustainable majority in this House for leaving the EU with a deal.
UK Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit deal finally wins majority support in Parliament. U.S. Intel chief contradicts President Donald Trump's claims of progress with North Korea. And mixed martial arts fighters Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov received suspensions for their post-fight brawl in October. Those are the reasons behind the stories in the second part of our newscast. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Angelo III. Good evening.